All right, hey, it's Paul from paulsailor.com. I'm here with my friend Tony, and we're here today. The video topic is a big topic, heavy topic, and it is artificial intelligence, right? Machine learning. I'm here with, got the Buddha there. This is the old school, old intelligence, you could say, and now I'm talking about the future, which is artificial intelligence, right? And what I found is so many of my friends don't really understand what it is. And when they hear, I mean, I don't know about you, Tony, but when people hear about artificial intelligence, they kind of don't know what it is. They're like, are robots going to be smarter than me? Are they going to take over the world? Is it not going to work? Like, what is artificial intelligence?
Well, I don't know about smarter, but they might be free of sin.
Okay, so they might be, yeah, they don't have any kind of bias, right?
Yeah.
A software program has no bias.
No.
So let's think about it. Let's just take a little walk and then just think about it. What is artificial intelligence? I think one of the biggest things is that people think it's not coming soon, right? They think that artificial intelligence is a future thing that's going to be super far away, and we're going to be flying in some kind of rocket at that time, right? This definitely is not the case. Artificial intelligence is already all around you. Whenever you search on Google, right? Why did Google beat Yahoo? Google beat Yahoo because of a very, very specific reason, and it's because of artificial intelligence. When I had a website and I put it on Yahoo, right? And I had to choose which area I was in. So I chose, services, financial, and then I think I finally just chose, financial services, right? But head hunting company's not that, but they didn't have enough choices for me, right? And the reason why is because Yahoo is based on our minds, our human minds. We put them into these categories like in a library, right? Artificial intelligence is totally different. And that's why Google beat Yahoo's, because Google said, let's use a program that looks at user actions and let's make the program learn from those actions about what things mean, right? So they didn't say, okay, this is the category. It's now a dog, it's a cat. It's travel, it's food, it's health. They let the users, from their actions, they would click from here to here to here, and they would figure it out what it was. And Google would say, from our watching of the behavior, this is a XYZ type of thing. And the software would start to make a theory on its own that this is what it is, and it would put it in there until the software said, wait a second, no, it's a little bit different, and we move it to somewhere else. So everything got slowly moved into very usable areas that make a lot more sense than what we would put them in as human beings, right? A lot more complexities of, I would say, categorization, right? So machine intelligence, another main mistake of machine intelligence, or misunderstanding, is that people think that it's going to be a long time away. Right. And so people think it's not going to happen for a long time. And let me explain why it's going to happen. Not only that it's going to happen soon, you just have to believe me on, but the fact that what happens when it actually does happen, when the computer does reach human intelligence, what happens? Let me explain what happens. You kind of get a picture of what it is. Okay. There's a parabola, right? And when it takes a long time for it to get moving, right? But when it finally gets moving, it goes straight up. Okay, that's how it works. That's how machine intelligence works. So it takes a long time to recognize a cat. It takes a long time to recognize a cat, okay? But when it finally does recognize a cat, it recognizes the other animals, it can recognize the other animals, and it can classify all the animals, right? And then when you teach it one language, right, it quickly becomes other languages, and it can extrapolate, right? And then once it gets, okay, let's put it this way. When the intelligence level rises, and it's already beaten the best human Go player. It beat the Hollywood Squares, trivia people. It beat many years ago, back in the 80s, Deep Blue beat Gary Kasparov in chess. Right, so we're seeing these things beat humans all the time. I want to beat it out of you. Okay, I just want to beat it out of you that it's not happening. Okay, right now when you fly an airplane, have you ever flown an airplane? Right?
Yeah.
What happens, right? You think the pilot's flying? The pilot ain't flying. It's a computer flying. And that's why it's not crashing. Because he's better than a pilot. He doesn't drink. The computer program doesn't drink. It doesn't fall asleep. And it can calculate a lot more variables at the same time than a human being can. and it can read a lot of different graphs and things at the same time, and it can look at all these things, keep everything, take it all into consideration, right? So you're already trusting your life to a computer and in machine intelligence right now. Okay, so don't think that you're not, right? So next, when we're waiting for this thing to get smart, right? We've been waiting our whole lives, right? For it to get smarter and smarter. Now we see, all of a sudden we're seeing self-driving cars. Google's driven, over 1 million miles, right? Self-driving car, no human being, right? Airplanes are flying, computers are running things, they're predicting things, they're making things, they're doing things that, let's face it, we can't do. We can't do millions of calculations in a minute, right? So it's getting faster and smarter and smarter. When it finally reaches human intelligence, okay, when there's that intersection, right, of human intelligence and computer intelligence, what you think, probably, what most people think, is that, oh, it's done. It's done. Computer's as smart as me. That's all that's going to happen, right? That's probably what's in your mind, because you probably have a hard time thinking, like, what happens the day after that? What does it mean? Like, really, it's kind of, people are kind of scared, right? Like, what's going to happen if it's smart? Like, it doesn't have legs, it can't run around. Like, what can it do? Okay. What it'll do is when it reaches human intelligence, okay, and the singularity, they call it, when it reaches the singularity, it's calculating millions of things, okay, all the time, right? Now, once it's got that level of intelligence, it will double that intelligence within the next couple days. And within a week, it will be up 5, 10 times, 100 times human intelligence. So a week after computers reach human intelligence, we will not understand what they're doing. Now, it's kind of like the sun going around the world, the Earth, where it's not going to freak us out, because we'll give it data, it'll make a decision, it'll say, yeah, the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl, and we'll just believe it, and then they will, and fine, right? Because it'll make a good prediction. So it's not like it's going to take over because they're smarter than us, but it will be able to do things we can't do. And after that, a week is past that, they won't even be able to explain to us. Okay, if you have the most patient computer teacher teaching you, you just won't get it. You'll be like, why is that? There's too many things to think about. Like, how is that possible? Like, I don't understand computer. And he'll say, well, this is the way it is, and here's how it is, and you can see it's true, and here's the data, check it out. Okay, yeah, that happened, and it can extrapolate. Okay, the other thing is that one is that it's gonna pass us, that's true. The next thing is we can stop it. A lot of people think they can stop it. They think, well, we gotta stop this, man. Computers are gonna get so smart. Like, what are they gonna do next, right? What's gonna happen, right? So, okay, so let's say, for example, your country, where do you live? Let's say you live in, Australia, and you say, okay, Australia, we ain't gonna do no more of this. We don't like machine learning. Ain't nobody gonna be teaching computers nothing here, right? And obviously nobody's doing that, but let's just say. Now, what would happen? China will do it. Russia will do it, right? The UK, the US, the whole artificial intelligence system, the whole, like the factors that have converged together to create artificial intelligence, the 3D printing, the materials, the big data, right? The internet with all this data, because the data is what you fuel, that's what you feed into the program, right? And all these things, miniaturization, computing power, data, all the materials inventions that make faster programs and faster chips and smaller this and smaller that, all this stuff is converging to make this a very powerful thing in our lives. Now, let's think about this. Do you want the most powerful invention that man's ever made to be in your hands, or do you want it to be in somebody else's hands? Because that's the only thing you have to think about. Because it's happening, okay? It's gonna happen, and it's already happening. So do you want to know something about it? Do you want it to help your life? Do you want it to help your country, your family, your children, or do you want it to be in somebody else where you can work at their company, right? You can listen to them. You can read their stuff. You can buy their stuff because you can't make it yourself, right? Okay, probably not, right? So let's talk about it. What is machine intelligence? What are the programs inside of a computer that create something smarter than what you put in, right? It seems like magic, right? How does it work, right? Okay, you have different programs, and this is where it's super simple. Okay, think about the way you learn things, right? How do you learn things? You either learn things by categorizing things, right? You're like, oh, that's an animal. Why? Well, it's got 4 legs. It's got 2 eyes. It breathes. Okay, it's got warm blood. It's got cold blood. You know, they got warm-blooded and cold-blooded, right? We're categorizing things, and that's what they did in old libraries and basically any kind of categorization system is that's one way you learn, right? And so you can extrapolate. So when you see a new animal, for example, you see a new animal you've never seen before, you don't think, is this a spaceman? Is this a rock? You're like, no, he's got eyes and legs, and it's some kind of weird animal, but I mean, I had never seen that one before, but it's obviously an animal because you've categorized, right? Okay, so the types of the types of algorithms that they use to feed data into that make the decisions that we call machine intelligence or artificial intelligence, machine learning, are like this. Okay, one of them is more like a tree. So let's look at a tree here. So we got a tree here, and the tree has branches. Okay, so we have a basic idea, which is the foundation, which is the root of the tree, or the stump of the tree, and then we have the different ideas. So it splits off. So it starts off with one basic idea, and then it splits off into more complex ideas, and then splits off and categorizes those ideas into different ideas, and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's like a tree algorithm. The tree algorithm, that's the way the data that you put in, it's gonna use it in that way. But there's other type of data that is a neural network, which is more like our brains, where you have all these complex data points or dots basically, and then you have the other dots, and then they're connecting, and you're making these network connections, much like your own brain. Okay, so machine intelligence is not something to be scared of. I mean, it was made by humans, okay, and it was made based on the way that we learn. And when you watch your child, you're going to see the way he's learning, and you might even think of your own algorithm for machine intelligence yourself by watching your kid learn something, or watching your husband or wife do something, right? It's not impossible to understand. Okay, so then you have neural networks. So you have, okay, let's go with the types of algorithms. There's about 8 different main algorithms for machine intelligence. And I don't want to go into them too much because this is not computer science, but just so you can kind of understand the kind of concepts, right? One of the ideas is called supervised learning. Okay, so supervised learning is, you know, that is like you say, like, what is this? This is some glasses, right? So I put it in the computer. I say, these are a pair of glasses. Find me some more glasses, right? So then it'll look at this. It'll analyze every aspect of this. You know, the different. You know, it looks very closely at it. It's going to look at everything about it, what it's made of, what shape it is, and this and that. And then it's going to say, okay, the computer. It's going to look for something that looks like this, right? And then it's going to say, okay, this is glasses, these are glasses, these are glasses. And then it will say, and then we'll say, no, those aren't glasses. That's supervised learning. Okay, so that's the earliest form of machine intelligence, is supervised learning, because a human being put the data, told it what it was, okay? And then you have semi-supervised. Semi-supervised is when you have some objects that you put into this is a more advanced type of artificial intelligence. You're putting some things in there, but the computer inside the original data set has to figure some stuff out. Okay, so it has to say, okay, well, if this is here, then that's there, that must be there. It's making decisions, and then it's using that data, and then it's going looking for other data. Okay, so it's looking for things, right? So that's supervised learning, right? And then you have, which is the future of artificial intelligence, which is unsupervised learning, which is basically the computer is deciding what things are and what that means. Okay, it's doing it all on its own, right? And it's coming out with intelligent things to make your life better. So for example, it'll come out with a better way to drive to work. It'll come out with a better way to, okay, let's back up in here a little bit. One of the biggest problems with research until now, they used to say, I forgot who said this, it was something like Socrates or something, way back, he said, no, it wasn't so, what am I saying? So it was science. But either way, he said, science advances one funeral at a time. And what that means, and what he meant is that scientists are humans. Okay, so you have a theory about something, and you're very stubborn about it. Okay, you don't want to change, right? But when you die, your son isn't so stubborn about that idea. So he's going to take that idea and actually make some advances with it. So science is held back by human beings. That's actually one of the biggest things that stops science is us. Is that we have our ideas and we don't want to like look bad, and we want to make money. We want to do this. Whereas better science would be just making the right decisions and realizing when we're wrong and being more, practical about things, right? So with unsupervised learning, it's going to figure out things that you just can't even believe. So for example, they already have a drug making laboratory where there's like thousands and thousands of different chemicals, and it's just mixing chemicals on its own, and then it's testing to see what those chemicals do, and it's already coming out with breakthroughs. And because now they're realizing that humans are so limited in what they try to test, is that we don't really have that many ideas. We think, well, it must be this and it must be that. If this happens, we're thinking too much. Whereas if you were just test things, right? If you just test the things, put them together, you come up with a wonderful casserole, or you come up with a new drug to cure cancer, right? So now they have computers that don't think, but they do things, and then they take the result, and then they can test that, and then when they find something, they can even improve on that, right? Because they can say, well, we use this and this, these two chemicals, these three, and we put this much of this, let's try this much of that and that much of this, and see if we get better data on this side. So the computer is, in many ways, is very superior to us, but it's also very much like us. So the way they think is very much like us. It's like a tree, it's like a neural network. It's like the way that we listen to Chinese, we repeat it time and time again. The computer has to again and again and again and again compare things, right? And as you know, inside a computer it's just ones and zeros, right? So the computer is very good at comparing things, right? Every cat video is just ones and zeros, right? So it's taking, what is a cat, what is a cat, what is a cat, what is a cat, and it's going, this is a cat, that's that, and then it's getting farther and farther from it. What is a paw, what is a paw? And it's looking at the eyeballs and the tiniest little variations in the pupils, and it's saying, this is a pupil, that's a pupil, and it's putting these categories, and then it's doing things that our eyes can't even see. That's why it's smarter than us. It's because it can do things we can't do, and it can add them to data that already we can do, right? So, 1, it's like us. 2, it makes our life better. And 3, we don't want it in the hands of our enemies, right? So, there's about 8 different actual algorithms for machine intelligence. And I think I'm getting a little bit tired, so I think I'm not going to talk about them right now. But what I will say is this, is they're very simple models, and I'll put an excellent research paper in the contact thing below. So you can read, look at these different types of algorithms. And I think you'll find that each algorithm is different and has different purpose. So when you look at the algorithms, you'll immediately know, like, this would be really good for that, or this would be really good for that, right? So if you can start to realize that the world's changing, and start to realize that you're not too stupid, you can do it. You can use machine intelligence, and you can even be a pioneer with the machine intelligence, because you just have to look at how the algorithms work and what problem you're trying to solve, and then to get an algorithm working on a problem, right? Whether it's a bicycle rental business that you want to beat every bicycle rental in your area, but it's going to be based on real data, on real action and real risk, and things that the computer can calculate much better than you can, right? In the future, there's going to be totally autonomous corporations. I want to have one. I want to have an autonomous corporation, and this is the truth, using Ethereum, which is an excellent base for this kind of thing, and Ethereum, and it actually looks on the internet for research about which areas, like which books and which videos there's not enough of, but there's a lot of demand for, and then it actually creates these things for me, and then takes the money itself, because it's a currency that you can take on the internet, right? So it can create a buy now button, and it can have, it can look for opportunities in the market, make the product, sell the product, and take the money and put it in my bank account. That's a totally autonomous corporation. Now, I want to have one of the first ones, so that's partly why I'm so into this. But I think it's very exciting. I think it's very interesting, and I think that I can do it, and I think that regular people, if you just keep your eyes open and keep learning, there's no reason why you can't be ahead. There's no reason why you can't be ahead and do very well in life. And for me, we were talking about this before, me and Tony, is I find that real life is much more interesting than Disney. I don't care about any kind of fantasy or fiction. I find that real life and learning about what's actually happening today is so exciting. It's so many things happening. It's so fast, and it's so incredible, the era that we live in with electronic cars and all these things we talked about. It's better than any book. So there you go. I just want to tell you real quick is that we do have a members area. paulsalo.com has a members area, and it's for brainstorming. It's for people that like new ideas. They're looking for starting a new business. They want to, some people just want to know what's going on. They want to be like, what's the latest thing and how can I understand it? Other people are brainstorming ideas. Other people have started businesses with ideas. and they want to go to the next level, or they want to give back and help other people. So we have a members area. It's $29 a month, $29.88, and you can see below the video how to get in there, but this is not a pitch for that. I just wanted you to know that we're launching this. We've had a lot of people interested, and it's something I love doing. So it's something I'm involved in. So I'm looking at it every day, and I respond to inquiries in my members area. So thanks for listening, and I hope that you don't feel scared of machine intelligence, because you shouldn't. It's like your brain, and that you can use it. So thank you very much.